This is day 92, and it was so freaking hot today, and the humidity was so intense that when the rains finally came, I stayed outside and got deliciously soaking wet. And now, this is what the night sky is looking like. It's pretty beautiful on day 92 here in the great state of New Jersey. That's pretty lovely. The clouds have been pretty magnificent today. I think that what I want to say is that I'm a really good daughter. I'm a really good daughter, and I've been gone for 25 years, and I missed a lot carving out my own life in Alaska. And while I'm here in New Jersey, I'm doing all that I can to be of service. And today, I became the boy that my parents didn't have. Camille, which would be my grandpa's name. I was named Camille after him. And it's my mom lives in this wonderful world in which boys really have to do it all, and girls really either shouldn't do it or can't do it. Everything from changing the fans' blades, which she thought I had to get my nephew to do, to trimming a massive row of trees that I was able to do to the best of my ability, given my height and the height of the ladder. Though unfortunately I did slice through the wire, which I have since repaired. But I'm humbled by the practice. Yesterday I was so fired up, and I'm fine today. I'm grateful and I'm at peace. But I gotta say, this is a walk that involves practice. This is pretty much like going to the gym every day. Like, I did a course called Strengthen Your Spiritual Muscles, and I loved that. That came through me in 45 minutes, that entire 4-part workshop. And in it, I teach 4 spiritual practices: meditation, visioning, affirmative prayer, and circulation. But this idea of spiritual muscles, this idea of a muscle, this idea of strengthening a muscle. And what does it take to strengthen a muscle? It takes repetition and weight. It takes repetition and weight. And then it takes a day off from the gym. But for the most part, it takes work. It takes getting the weight and lifting it and lifting it and lifting it and lifting it and making your muscles burn and making that lactic acid run through your body the next day because it hurts so good. Spiritual muscle, spiritual practices. So I continue to simply be grateful for these 92 days. And my friend last night, Joan, she was so great. She goes, you really should do a strike through of the word confusion. You have in your video template, I'm so confused, the confusion experiment. She's like, you don't want to perpetuate confusion. And I said, wow, that's a really great point. She goes, maybe these last 8 days you should just call it the clarity experiment. And it made me realize that, I did come into this messed up, man. I was on the road to nowhere. I was so confused. I was so confused. I was spinning like a spinning top. And here I am 92 days later, and I'm not. And when I am confused, I know that I'm not confused, but rather there's confusion. And even though I don't have the answers to everything, and even though I'm going to Alaska next week and I have mixed feelings about that, like I always do, and I'm kind of wondering what's going to be there for me, but I'm not confused. I may not know how it all is going to shake out, but I know all of my needs are met. I thought I was going to be able to stay with a friend, but that's not going to work out. And, but I'm not panicking because all of my needs are met, and there's always someone that helps out, and all of my needs are met. So lifting my sights above basic things like lodging and cars and thinking about what do I want to create when I get up there to share this with people. This content is really feeling like the thing to focus on. You know, there are a few places where I can hold events, but I'm just starting to, Kyle said something so magnificent on that retreat weekend. It was Sunday, and my head had basically blown up. Like it was scattered all over the rug. It was bad. And I was just blown out of my mind. And he said to me, I want you to pick a date 6 months from now, and I want you to hold an event, the clearly confused event. And I was just like, you got a lot of nerve. You're not giving me any answers. You're telling me I should write a book. Now you want me to get on the road and have an event in Anchorage. And he's like, but don't you know anybody that could help? Don't you know anybody that could help you sell the tickets? Or don't you know somebody that could? And it took me several minutes before I finally saw the way he cocked his head and was looking at me. And I was like, wait, what are you saying? And he was like, well, I'm saying that if you do this, and if you book that event, and if you have it for the right reasons, I will come up and help you. And so I've been thinking about that because it has to come out of my heart space. It has to be the right thing. But I think that going up to Anchorage, I feel like going up to Anchorage and maybe doing a small event, maybe at my spiritual center or somewhere, and talking about this experience is a template, a blueprint, a dress rehearsal for something larger that would involve him in the fall. So yeah. Lastly, it's got nothing to do with anything, but it was poetic. Right before the clouds opened and the rain came, the air was pregnant. I mean, it was so feminine. It was so feminine. It's like, it reminded me of how I used to feel like right before my menstrual cycle, just so full. It reminds me of how, one feels right before an orgasm where you're just so full, something so beautiful and just so pregnant. And then the clouds just open and there was this profound release. We need the feminine. We need the feminine. And it's just so interesting to be in a time where apparent leaders of my country have no hesitation to mock and berate women, the feminine. But the feminine is rising. We need to rise to balance the patriarchal way that's collapsing. The matriarchal way must step into the mix and balance out the patriarchal way. So that's my little smorgasbord of sharing today. Tomorrow, I'm going to get up, meditate, then I'm putting on my bathing suit, and I'm getting in the car, and I'm driving to the beach. And that's pretty much what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm going to jump into the ocean and float on my back. And I might do it Monday too, because it's right here, and so am I. And this is day 92.